Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Nerd Chronicles, with your host, the socially awkward nerd, Christian Paul speaking. And ladies and gentlemen, after a few long weeks, I say maybe 1 or 2, right? Up in this little setting here, actually coming back to actually revive after coming back from the DR on a much needed recovery vacation, coming from family reunion time, and I thank God for actually having that opportunity. I finally come into the confines of my blessed room that I do my building of content, data analytics, content, reactionary content, social skills content, all the other stuff. I finally come back to the confines of my heavily computer that's high-teched out, that's more than willing to be prepared to handle all the video load. And it is a huge, huge blessing, ladies and gentlemen. Man, I had so much fun up in the DR, literally coming by, having all the wonderful food, all the wonderful nutrients. But if you see some of the stuff behind me and why I'm coming mainly out of the bed, just please understand, forgive me about the room once again. I am literally actually dealing with a stomach flu, definitely at the moment, although I feel much better, definitely physically, because a couple of days prior to that, I was having a bunch of body aches, chills, heat flashes, all the way out of the woodwork. You know what I'm saying? But the next day, I instantly felt fine with the rest of the body, but the diarrhea is still there. More than likely, the contagion is definitely still there. So I had to be very careful, and I had to actually just isolate for a little bit, not really for me, but primarily for other people that are definitely working at the job, as well as, the patients that are actually getting really evaluated. That was my main concern. I do not want to get any of them sick whatsoever. That's why I had to actually stay home and make sure everything is thoroughly cleared out, unless my gastro in here, okay, all in my body here tells me everything is mainly good to go. And I've been actually dealing with some good pills by my father. Thank God for him, to actually get myself mainly up and right. And I'm very, very grateful for that. I am very excited to create so much content I want to do today. Definitely want to do a lot of discussing in regards to the data science stuff that I've done with cancer. That's one. Another situation I want to discuss with is I finally have a new car after my old engine just mainly blew itself out for the old Infinity. That's going to come in another video. Also, I didn't want to actually tell about the car statistics and, how the whole selling process is going to be and how everything's going to mainly be for sale and how the process is going to be like. Who knows? That'll probably be another video as I try and get everything organized and see how things mainly work. I'll discuss more things about new cars versus used car buying. That's going to be another video as well. And more so, I also will be discussing a few more videos. Definitely the Diddy video. That's also going to be coming up soon as well. Once the verdict actually is reached at the time of this recording, more so is going to be on Wednesday, July 2nd. More so, the verdicts will be finalized, and then we'll be able to hear all the outcomes by then. And then there's 2 other breaking news and reactionary stories that I do want to get to as well in separate videos. One of them is really basically a black man coming by and actually trying to check Myron Gaines, and actually trying to send Myron Gaines for Myron's disrespect of black women and how he went about it. And you probably will be shocked on how I'm going to actually react to this one in this video here. In the meantime, this video here, we are going to talk about the pop the balloon viral moment of a young black male contestant, well fit, looking to actually trying to find a love partner, looking to find another black partner like him to actually just ride the moon set with, and actually try to build together with a bunch of 8 black female contenders, you know what I'm saying, that's willing to actually just win over his heart. And because about half of the contestants mainly popped their balloon, he made a comment saying that he prefers to have basically long-haired women that attracts him the most, long-haired women that actually mainly grow out of hair about their scalps, and all of a sudden they end up going literally gung-ho, pop their balloons, going berserk. We are going to go through that video literally right now. Oh, yes. It's going to be extremely, extremely juicy. Juicy! So, ladies and gentlemen, excuse me, we have this young gentleman here by the name of Nande that came as a guest looking for love on Arlette Amuli's show, Pop the Balloon. And what we are going to see here, right, in this clip as we go along, you're going to see 8 competitive, amazing, beautiful women that's definitely down there that's actually looking for his love or actually looking for a compatible partner that they can mainly pair up together based on that show. And based on that reaction, you will see definitely virtually all of them pop their balloon. Some of them initially in the very beginning, but basically once he actually explained his reasoning, then the rest of the women mainly pop their balloon. So let's go ahead and play this video, and we're going to break this down into 2 parts, and I'm going to actually explain to you why, and it's going to be a little intermission to school you guys mainly on some game for all my brothers and sisters out there. So let's go and see what we have going on up in this clip.
Healthcare tech. I'm also.
So these are the 8 young women that are looking to find somebody that's definitely compatible with on the show. And you see some of these women actually pop their balloons instantly based on what they saw out of the man. So let's continue on to basically show and see how we can react in this video.
Entrepreneur. So I have a few homes in Africa that I'm building. I'm also getting into fitness modeling. And then my LLC, everything to do with fitness. We help to inspire individuals to be fit for life.
Nice.
On all aspects, including financial, physical, emotional, and then also spiritual.
Okay, very nice. So what are some things you like to do for fun?
I like to travel. Very outgoing. I love sporting events. I like beach, very outdoorsy. I love food.
Okay.
And really anything to do with trying new experiences. So very much excited for life.
Nice. Okay. And now what are some things you look for in a woman?
Definitely someone who takes health and wellness, a priority. Someone who is kind, someone who is compassionate, someone who is also driven to, always be progressing in whatever it is that they're doing.
Nice. Okay. And now what are some deal breakers?
Someone that smokes cigarettes, someone that undervalues, self-care, someone that has a lot of unhealed traumas.
The runs are so real.
And someone that's promiscuous.
All right. Okay. So we did get some pop balloons. Let's go on over there and see why they ended up popping. We'll start here. Your name and age.
Hi, I'm Rebel, and I'm 31.
And Rebel, why'd you end up popping your balloon?
For me, it's not that I'm promiscuous. I think just the initial attraction is the biggest thing. Yeah.
See here.
Yeah.
And now is she someone that's your type?
Not so much.
And notice he had to pause for a bit because what this young man is trying to do, he's trying to match the energy of that young woman. So whenever, they said they showed this interest in him, his mindset is, if the woman does not want me, I don't want her. That's how he's approaching it, the way it is going by. He's not trying to actually just come out of it like some bottle, cocky dude as he comes by. His mindset basically is, you don't want me, I don't want you. I'm going to keep it pushing. If I'm asked about the reasonings, I don't mind giving the reasons. But, I'll do my best to actually say less is more.
Why not?
I'll say more so like the hair. So more so attracted to longer hair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you notice that you see the remainder of the balloons pop, and the 4 women instantly pop their balloons, and you see the body language of Arlette here thinking, oh, what the F is going on up in here? And mind you, preference does not equate to requirements in dating, okay? Just because a man has a preference on what he likes doesn't really fully guarantee that he's not going to actually see that particular woman actually trying to date that particular woman. It is a preference. You know what I'm saying? It's based off of the initial attraction. But because the moment that he actually brought out the hair comment and saying, hey, I prefer a woman with longer hair, I will say this. Black women actually have grown long, thick, and coarse natural hair all the way from their scalps, taking on year on ends, taking care of it. I've seen loads of black women mainly do this on video in my family and close friends that have done it up in real life. I've seen it personally I've seen it close and personally up in front. So to me, I don't understand why that type of ordeal would be like a huge deal for, you know, a lot of people to actually deal with based on the preference. But to some, you know what I'm saying, some women, some black women have a very deep insecurity issue when it comes to their hair, especially their natural hair and how they wear it. Whether they want to actually wear it natural, relaxed, straightened, if they want to have it weaved up, wear closures, or have braids, or if they want to lock their hair, which they have whatever right they do, whether they want to wear it short or long, they can do whatever they want. It's their right. You know, they have no limitations on what they could do. They could do whatever they want to do as long as they have the freedom of choice to do so. Now, the issue is that when you actually try to go in and actually just come out and belittle this man just for actually staying out his preferences. But before I go forward and actually go dig deep into the reasoning and the mindsets and my true personal opinion on all this, on why all that stuff is made unnecessary, I do want to take a moment to dig deep into the history in regards to natural hair and definitely racism, colonialism, all that other stuff, the wickedness that's been going on, and how them folks, okay, are actually extremely salty at how us as black people, how like basically where they wear our hair on how we want it. And they've been extremely salty since the very beginning. And all the reactionary stuff that's mainly been going on why they reacted that way, you got to trace it back to generational trauma. And I do want to actually discuss more about that prior to actually digging more into the analysis. So let's get right into the situation here, ladies and gentlemen. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have Google AI, you know, saved my life in regards of the Nerd Chronicles here, you know, up in the Nerd Chronicles Google page here, up in the site as a user. We look into the history of black natural hair discrimination, right? The history of black natural hair discrimination definitely is deeply rooted in the deep hatred of them folks, not just the United States of America, but also global, worldwide, you know, stemming from them folks' oppressive culture, narcissistic culture, their culture of oppression, their culture of wickedness, their culture of narcissism, okay? They want to try and get a supply to mainly feast on. If they can't get no supply, you know, they lose their mind and they get gung-ho. They go really buck up in here like young buck. You know what I'm saying? Go buck wild. You know what I'm saying? All of this stemmed from the slavery era and definitely in the early modern times during the global transatlantic slave trade up in the 1600s and 1700s, right? Slavery era, black people were subjected to practice intended to strip them of their identities and cultures, dehumanizing them in every form of the way, and unimaginable, beyond deplorable known to man, beyond sick, beyond demonic. And one of the practices is the forced shaving their heads upon the arrival up in those colonized areas, especially in the United States of America, both men and women. Erasing the identities of their African culture, erasing the identities of African heritage, and even some of the people that actually lived in the black people that lived in the United States prior to colonization, they got hit too as well. Now, to add insult to injury, enslaved black women were often present forced to mimic European hairstyles or cover their hair as a symbol of their enslaved status, as exemplified by the Tignon laws in New Orleans in the late 18th century. I'll definitely look that up in another time, requiring black women to cover their hair with head scarves, satin scarves, you know what I'm saying? Hence you see the wigs, weaves, you know what I'm saying? Clothes mainly come to place, and then you see the European centralized straight hair look mainly come down the pack, create the hierarchy through, the wickedness of them folks and them trying to leads, where straighter European-like hair was deemed good hair to them, and it was associated with privilege, while natural, tightly coiled hair was seen as bad hair and associated with inferiority. And you look at post-slavery times where you see a bunch of uprisings come by where black folks, black men and women, put the heat on them folks and them slave masters. You know what I'm saying? They still salty. They're still narcissistic, right? They can't help themselves, right? And yet they still feel pressure to conform due to their insecurities, okay, towards themselves and their projections, due to the fact that we are a unique group of people that can shapeshift any given way we want, and them folks do not have the opportunity to do so, right? And you see it continuing going down with hair relaxers, hair straightening, blowouts, often damaging but necessary for upward mobility. And this is no disrespect to Madame C.D. Walker, because I know she's very great in what she does when it comes to multi-level marketing. But she's best known for her hair care tools and hair care empire, dealing with the market of hair straightening products and relaxers as well. And she has made a profit based on that to start, but also multi-level marketing as well. Definitely condolences to her family in regards to definitely when passing. God rest her soul. When it comes to Black Power movement and the natural hair movement, Black natural hair movement, right? The afro, natural curls, natural hair was seen as a sign of rebellion, leading and embracing natural hair textures like afros, braids, cornrows, and gained a lot of momentum up in the early 2000s, encouraging more and more Black men and women to embrace more of their natural hair and their natural hair textures, in which we can range from 1 all the way up to 2A, 2B, 2C, 3A, 3B, 3C, 4A, 4B, 4C, 4D, 4Z, all the way to chaotic. And we can shape-shift and deceive a lot of people doing so, if we choose to. Now, it has been fueled by the realization of the health associated with hair relaxers and the desire to embrace one's authentic self when you actually try and do too much butt kissing to them folks. You know what I'm saying? The consequences, parents, you deal with cancer risks. You deal with unnecessary chemicals, getting hit with leukemia. You know what I'm saying? COPD as well, right? Lung cancer, breast cancer, what else? Melanoma could be another one, depending on what type of chemicals actually get impaled in the skin. Those are certain examples. Now, even those advancements, okay, even if those advances mainly come into place, all this discrimination that's coming by still affects us, Black men and women, in this day, with them folks still running the show. Why? They are so salty and they are still narcissistic because they don't know how else to be but literally become oppressive and narcissistic and literally acting a fool, right? Y'all see all this even with Crown. They still don't know. They still don't know how else to be. They still become further hardened and they still became further salty, which is why we are in the position that we are in today. Now, I do want to give a special message to all my Black brothers and sisters in regards to this topic here. Okay? We are a very unique group of people. Okay? Our hair is extremely unique. We can do as much shape-shifting to infinity as we want to, if we choose to. Okay? And if you got people that are still salty on how we look, and you got people that are actually still catty based on how we wear our hair and what we do with our hair and everything that's there, whether you want to grow long or actually cut it, or we want to wear weaves, we want to wear wigs, we want to wear closures, we want to keep it natural, we want to be a straight natural, we want to keep it relaxed, keratin treatment, Japanese training treatment, Brazilian blowouts, whatever, right? You get to do whatever you want with your hair, okay? As long as you make sure you take care of it, and as long as you take care of your health alongside it as well, okay? Any person that give you any issues or give you any microaggressions, plan your exit. Stay away from those people, especially those up in your job. Get another job and go to find somebody that's going to value more or build your own business. Okay? So you don't have to deal with all this crazy nonsense that you see up in work and all the saltiness and the narcissism that you see up in play. Okay? We have men and women who basically are curly suits that transform into kinetic springs that can actually just extend all the way out. They can have everything sewed up to a very tiny afro, and their hair can mainly extend all the way down the mid-back, all the way down to the waist. It can happen when it comes to 4C hair especially, okay? As long as you take care of it right, as long as you experiment, as long as you try and learn as much about your hair and knowing what it can tolerate, what it cannot tolerate, you'll be better off if you choose to grow it. You could grow it and it could be a lot longer and much thicker than those that choose to wear relax, which the edges are thinning out, breaking off, and much of the strands are thinning because much of the strands that you see are actually chemically processed. All the bonds and the DNA bonds you see are broken off and actually reprocessed. So it's very, very, very hard to actually try and get the same thickness that you would as if you were actually going natural. But I'm not no hair stylist or professional hair stylist. I don't want to try and actually go deep in that, but verify with them to be sure. But my gut actually is definitely true, and they're going to verify what I'm saying and actually go about it at a much, much deeper level. You know what I'm saying? So I do want to actually try and make sure of that. You know what I mean? Especially with the black women that's out there. Love your hair. You know what I'm saying? You should not be phased on anybody, especially your fellow black man. Whenever he says a comment like, hey, I prefer a woman with long hair more. That's to literally run right around your shoulders, disregard all that stuff. Let him be. If it don't even affect you, let it fly, let him go. But if it don't really affect you, nothing like that, and you're very confident that you're actually growing your own hair and create your own bundles with very thick bundles, you know what I'm saying? You can do whatever you want. You should not be making a big deal out of some dudes that actually have a preference. If it doesn't suit you, let it fly. Less is more. You ain't got to worry about all this chaos that you're mainly doing. Because the more you come out and saying, oh, how dare you say this stuff about black women this and black women that, about their hair, that shows a reflection of a deep insecurity problem that you literally need to seek therapy for with a professional black mental health specialist. And I say specifically a black mental health specialist and a black psychologist, black mental health therapist. Because they know. They can relate to what we deal with. You know what I'm saying? So I say these things in specifics, not to demean you guys, because we are the special human beings on the planet. We are the original human beings on the planet. And don't forget that. We have the uniqueness to shapeshift to anything that we see fit just for our pleasure and not for the pleasure of others. This is because we want to, just because you want to be curious. Not because you want to try and kiss ass to somebody else or kiss behind to somebody else. Pardon my language. You know what I mean? So, with that, okay, let me go back and let's go back to the 8 women that you see up in Pop the Balloon. Now, coming back to the video here. This young lady here, very beautiful afro, very tight curls, 4C hair. Her hair, if she chooses to stretch it out or she blows it out or actually straightens it, silk press it, however it may be, when straightened out, it could go as far down around her neck, down to the top of her shoulders, right? It's very unique. It's very, very unique. You feel like you actually just, have like a different person, different twin, those types of things. You feel like you can have multiple triplets in a way. You know what I'm saying? That's the uniqueness of curly suits in general, and definitely the uniqueness of black natural hair. So the preference actually come by. Let's actually go into detail and look further into the video on why all these women have popped their balloons. Excuse me.
Okay, let's go on over here. Your name and age.
I'm Kiera. I'm 31.
And Kiera, why'd you end up popping your balloon?
Just initial attraction, but he sounds like a great guy.
And now is she someone that's your type?
Not so much.
The good news is at least that woman here, she hasn't really commented too much about the hair situation. So I will give, I will give her some credit about that. She's a little bit more mellow, I'll give her some modesty, and I'll definitely will give her grace on that.
Yeah.
Why not?
I'd also say maybe just the style in general. Yeah.
Initial attraction.
Let's go over here. Your name and age.
Tough game.
Catherine, 31.
Catherine, why'd you end up popping your balloon?
Initial attraction as well. I do like everything that you said. I resonated with a lot of it. Just chemistry. I didn't feel.
Understood.
Same thing here. She's someone that's your type.
And this woman hasn't really fully commented about the hair stuff as well, so at least she's reasonable. It's just that this day didn't really fully match. And it happens, and like, you're not going to have like the right feel when it comes to actually finding a partner, and that happens, that's definitely part of the game. You see what I'm saying? So that's actually definitely understandable on that.
No.
Okay, why not?
More into like athletic physique. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you. Let's go over here. Your name and age.
I'm Dre, and I'm 31.
Okay, and why'd you end up popping your balloon?
I really don't like the outfit, the skinny jeans, and I could hear you clicking when you came on. So, yeah.
Okay. So you got a preferences too. Just like what the gentleman had with the hair, the women had the preferences too based on what the clothes that he's wearing. So there's no issue that definitely not fair, even though the clothes can be replaced. And the hair, I understand there's some differences. The hair texture can't be changed, even in certain wigs, they can change that, but they can't really change the texture of the hair or anything that grows out of their scalp. You know what I'm saying? How would something like hair be an insult?
And now is she someone that's your type?
No.
All right, and why not?
Also, more so someone that is more physically, what I like. So athletic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Your name and age?
I am Sade.
So those three haven't really discussed more about the hair situation, but the next four, you're going to see that they are really, really spooked in regards to what has happened with this world lady right there. They thought actually standing up for her just because he actually had a preference, but really, as I stated before, if it doesn't really apply to you, leave them alone, let them be, because at the end of the day, it's all going to be about you two together. Yes, you also represent your community as well, and actually try and give your community the utmost respect also, but you have to try and make sure you're as thoroughly healed as possible in regards to that prior to actually dealing with a relationship, so that you don't have any unnecessary issues going on, just like this one here.
I am 28.
Okay, and Sade, why'd you end up popping your balloon?
It was a comment about the shorter hair. I can understand that, you don't like shorter hair, but I feel like as a black woman,
Yes, you understand about the shorter hair, which he actually clearly stated. His preferences, he wanted a longer haired woman. He clearly stated that. He never said that short hair isn't beautiful. He never actually said anything about short hair being ugly or short hair is sins. He never said anything in that nature. Why would you, in your mind, think that that would be insulting? Just because he wouldn't want to pick somebody that does not have longer hair enough to actually be around. And mind you, this woman definitely has long hair of her own, She definitely has her hair blown out, has her hair definitely curled up, heatless curls, Bantu knots, the whole 9 yards. Very beautiful, by the way. Not actually taking anything they taking away from her. When fully straightened out, more than likely it's going to be hitting broad straight length down to the mid back. More than likely. Well, whether it's natural or relaxed, I don't know, but it's definitely very thick, very coarse. You definitely actually see the body language. I can't confirm it's natural. I don't know. I cannot assume. I cannot speculate. But it is beautiful. You know what I'm saying? And that would be long. I don't know if it's going to be long enough for this gentleman here, Tanande. But it's definitely long, decently long, hits the armpit length, broad strap length, definitely not bad. You know what I mean? But if it doesn't apply to you with the comment of the preferences, why should you be concerned? Let's continue.
switch it up so much. So it might be a day where you see me with short hair, long.
Yeah, short hair if she cuts it off, or if she chooses to actually wear a wig. That's the other thing also as well.
Hair, I feel like that was kind of a petty reason to pop. So yeah.
How is that petty if he's actually stating a preference of who he wants to be with? if it really is that concerning, yes, you dodged the bullet, but if it don't affect you, let it fly. And if you know you got somebody that actually loves your long hair, he gladly take you. But you're really, really concerned about the whole sisterhood club and everything else more so than actually just finding the man. That's basically the vibe on what I'm actually getting.
Yeah, that was why.
Okay. But prior to him saying that, why was your balloon unpopped?
He has a lot going for himself. He's very attractive. That's pretty much it.
Okay, got it. And now, is she someone that's your type?
No.
Okay. Why not?
Okay.
The same reason as before. Not physically my type in terms of body type. Yeah.
I can live with it.
Okay.
Thank you. Your name and age?
Yeah, Sammy, 31.
Okay. And Sammy, why'd you end up popping your balloon?
Initial attraction, just not feeling like the connection, the chemistry, unfortunately. Yeah.
And now,
And this is the second woman that is actually quietly, actually supportive of the other 4 women that popped their balloons as well. She was spooked about the hair comment also, but she's low-key actually trying to be quiet to herself in regards with that.
is she someone that's your type?
No.
And why not?
Again,
And mind you, she has long hair also as well. That would be one of his preferences to actually go by. But, since he popped the balloon, he's trying to match the same energy. His mindset, again, is you don't want me, I don't want you. That's his mentality.
and I'm very particular. Okay. So I think just, the body type would be more so what it would have to do with. So, yeah.
Look at the body language of this woman here.
No worries.
Thank you. Going over here. Your name.
Now, this woman here, this is a woman who is a professional hairstylist out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Works at a hair salon with her mom. Basically, if I'm not mistaken, it is a hair shop. And so we'll definitely explain it further. I'll be able to actually put it up. I forgot the name of what it was. There's some with designs, but I'll actually let her hear out on what she had to say. But this one was the loudest out of the whole entire group over his preferences on which woman he likes to date. He prefers the long-haired woman over a short-haired woman. That's his preference, and see, Lily was extremely triggered by it.
Name and age.
Hi, I'm Sandy. I'm 33.
We got the young Sandy over here. You know what I'm saying?
And Sandy, why'd you end up popping your balloon?
I ended up popping it because you're attractive. You got it going on. But that comment about hair, I know your mama got short hair too. She's black. At the end of the day, black women, you don't know what to expect with our hair.
Number one, how would you know if this gentleman's mother has actually short hair? Have you met the mom personally? Have you know what she looked like personally? Have you actually done research about who his mom is? Do you know if his mom's hair is actually natural or relaxed? Have you known all of this information and you've just met this gentleman personally, but you gave all of these assumptions about his mom? Was that really necessary, Sandy? Was that really necessary? Because now he's becoming more disappointed due to the fact that she's actually getting triggered over a comment like this that's just way, way over the top, and way, way unnecessary. But let's see what Sandy has to say in this one.
We could wear it straight, we could wear it curly, and that was just like too much for me. So I don't got.
She's just spooked and she's just very spooked and very triggered. That's definitely all it is. She's just extremely triggered based on the situation. She extremely has some very deep traumas that she's yet to solve, that she's yet to resolve within herself. And this is a man can actually try to heal those types of traumas when it comes to the general traditional trauma of hair. Even though he could definitely relate it, but it's not as traumatizing when it comes with the black woman, especially with their hair. She has to actually solve that stuff within herself. You know what I'm saying? And again, it stems from actually going to therapy often and actually going to being like an active participant in therapy and actually getting it by a mental health specialist, definitely when in the same skin color. Preferably when in the same skin color. You know what I'm saying? That's basically the best route to actually go with for stalls. But she also needs to do self-work on herself and be reflective of the fact that I can actually be anything. I can actually just be utilized and wear my hair however I want to. And if like some dude actually comes by and he just say, I want to try and date somebody with short hair, short wigs. Now, let's say he goes reverse and actually does put the woman, or that her hair was long, right? And he says, hey, I prefer, women who shave their heads, or women with short hair, or women who are completely bald. Now, all of a sudden, she's probably going to have a hissy fit as well and actually try and lose her mind. Or, some people seem to lose her mind as well and actually just literally go gung-ho and berserk. Because, again, it's not really a him issue based on that black man's preferences. It's more so some deep, unseated traumas that she's yet to resolve within herself. Now let's actually continue up with the video.
Time for if you don't know, if you can't grow up from your roots, then you can't grow up with me.
And they can. To start off, he prefers long hair. And just because he prefers a woman with long hair at that particular moment, that does not mean he won't get with you if you're in the process of actually growing out your hair or experimenting with your hair. It's very minute. It's very, very small. Anybody can grow their hair however they want to, even naturally. Okay? Even black, you grow your hair out naturally and actually literally grow long hair, which does take time. You know what I'm saying? But Sandy's making it much of a bigger deal than it needs to be.
So that's how I feel.
Interesting.
And note, you see the clicking in behind the scenes trying to keep it quiet. That woman next to Sandy's right, actually just being quiet and actually just doing the tips, actually giving applause. Because he's low-key and agreeing with her, but she doesn't want to be the one that's actually being ousted up and actually trying to say how she really wants to say, okay? And then the other woman as well. I don't know if the woman actually did it saying well, but the woman to her left also is soundly agreeing to that particular Sandy also in regards with that. I just want to try and give a quick note also.
Go ahead.
I mean, my mom's actually on my necklace. She doesn't have short hair for one.
It doesn't matter.
Now Sandy's saying the whole thing is irrelevant now. And mind you, Sandy never met Tanane's mom.
It's about who you are as.
Yeah, and that's who you are based on what it is. And he's expressing who he is, and he's expressing his preferences as well, Sandy. And that's what you're not getting. Right? If it doesn't affect you, let it fly. Okay? But this is something that you definitely need to go thoroughly about and definitely work on. I know you're a great hairstylist. I know you've done a lot of great things with your mom. Let me go actually play this for a bit. Just bear with me.
A brother, the person you don't make hair don't make your personality. You dig me?
It's small, and if it's real hair don't really make your personality, then why are you making it such a big deal? And why are you actually triggered by that man's comment on his preferences on whether or not he loves to date long-haired women, right? Long-haired black women, long-haired Asian women, Hispanic women, white women, however it is, Why are you triggered by that? You know what I'm saying? If hair is a minor thing. Seeing that comment actually roll off for you right now and actually just brush not actually come out and distract you. You know what I mean? If it really is a very small issue, then why are you deeply concerned?
It's about who you are. If you're confident with short hair, long hair, it doesn't matter. Because a lot of girls that do have long hair, the hairs be thin.
That is not always true. It may be true based on her experience with styling clients. However, that's not always true when it comes to the whole country, especially with social media. There are plenty of black women with very beautiful, long, thick, coarse, natural hair. I've met black women who have very long, very thick, very coarse natural hair. I have some of them in my family, okay? I have an immediate sister whose hair is very long, coarse, and thick. I have secondary cousins and first cousins whose hair is very long, coarse, and thick. I've seen that in my family, on both sides. You know what I'm saying? So this is something that she saw based on her experience. We're saying that the longer your hair grows, the thinner it is. Not always true. That is true if you don't take care of it. However, if you continuously take care of it and actually make sure you actually just take care, get it in tip-top shape, it can be as thick as you want it to be. You know what I'm saying? So with her actually making that statement, Even though it's coming from a professional experience and a personal experience, that's not always true all the way around.
I have a salon. When I was 16, I brought my mother a salon with my business that I do. So
right.
yeah, I have dealt with so many different type of hairs. Shout out to my mom, Captivated Styles.
Captivated Styles in Philadelphia. Yep. That's the location that Sandy works at, definitely. And she's out here contesting in Phoenix. This is trying to get a partner, definitely looking to build and romance with. Definitely shouts out to her and her mom in regards to that business up in Philadelphia.
In the building, Philly, we here. But what you said, it's just not for me. You need to really check on your ends before.
Now, was that really, Sandy, was that comment really necessary? Is it really necessary? And mind you, his hair is fine, just like everybody else's hair is fine. But why are you concerned with this man's hair just because he has a preference with long-haired women? And you wonder why you're struggling to actually get a man, right? Because of how you act and not able to actually curb your emotions, not able to actually trying to calm yourself down. Let all this unnecessary stuff mainly go. You're making stuff that's actually seems small unnecessarily big for no reason. Why are you making a big deal over something that's unnecessary? You know what I'm saying? And you see why like a lot of black men are literally hesitant to go with women of Sandy's personality, women of Sandy's mindset because of stuff like this. And even some of the women that are actually coming by and actually smirking and quietly supporting her as well. They are very hesitant to actually just get with these types of women because of those ordeals, and then when they actually either check them or whenever they actually show how the true preferences are, all of a sudden you literally go berserk, and all of a sudden the relationship is actually just pure shot. You know what I'm saying? Due to the fact that you can't even get yourself in order, you can't actually get yourself, psychologically healed, get yourself in deep therapy, definitely try to work in your inner, you know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, it definitely not only affects you, but can also affect your partner in that process, unfortunately, because of that.
Or you talk about long or short hair, because a lot of girls with long hair be having no hair.
That is a lie. I've seen it. It's happening all over the state. It's not a lot of long girls having no hair. The long girls that have no hair, they don't know how to take care of it properly. But the ones that actually have a long hair with a lot of hair, they know how to actually take care of their hair literally in a healthy way. And they have the discipline to actually mainly do that. So what she's actually explaining, that's not 100% true. You feel me? I've seen videos on TikTok. I've seen videos on YouTube regards to professional science actually like checking with like clients who have issues with their hair, and they actually said, hey, this is a no good condition to strain or silk press and all these things, right? They give them time to actually do like non-heat styles to make sure they have their hair taken care of the proper way. And they actually tell those clients to come back within 6 months to a year. Follow the same regimen within that time frame. They come back, they do the silk press, all these things, and they actually see their hair fully blossom because of that. So as long as you actually go to a professional stylist that can mainly guide you and actually try and have you actually take care of your hair and help you out with that, ain't nothing wrong with it. But her statement is partially false.
Just because it's long is thin. So, yeah.
Not always. That is not fully true. I defer on that.
All right. I can't.
Okay.
Sounds triggered.
Yes, it is. Very, very triggered. And look at the body language and how frustrated she is. She is extremely triggered. And even they got spooked and actually just got smirked. She actually got shocked based on what comes on. But he called it the right way to see it. He's actually extremely triggered based on what went down. And he's very calm. And he's very respectful.
It's not triggered.
It is triggered. Sandy is very, very triggered. Because if it doesn't really concern you that much, why are you making it a big deal where it needs to be? If it doesn't really affect you and you have the long hair, why should you be concerned? I get you want to try and protect your fellow sisters and everything, which I fully understand. But when it comes with dating and preferences are different than requirements. Now, if it was a requirement, or if they talk about everything that's dealing with abusive, dealing with saying, I'm the authority of this, you do what I say, I take rule of your life, you have no say so, that's different. You could come at that man in regards with that. But something like this, really, Sandy?
First of all, I didn't say the hairstyle she had was not good.
He clearly did not say that. He's right. He never said it was bad. We clearly heard it.
I just
Said you
said
don't like girls with long hair.
No. He prefers women with long hair. That doesn't mean he won't get with a woman with short hair. He prefers a woman with long hair. And again, the hair can grow and they may not grow. They choose to cut it. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? But you're concerned about a man's preference that definitely triggers you? Really? Really, Sandy?
That's not right.
Nah, it's within his right to do so, Sandy. If it's not the right fit, let it be. But you can't be coming at him based on his preferences, even if it's hair, to actually come out and saying, oh, you can't be saying this stuff about black women's hair. Now you're going to be limiting what he has to say, and now he's going to be reluctant to date somebody like you because of that. And you wonder why you're struggling to have a man. And these are going to be the same women that, the pseudo red pill gurus who mainly have a field day of due to the fact that they're not really fully mature or they're not really fully psychologically heal on their own. And actually get help with a mental health therapist to actually try and make sure that they try and mitigate as much of their traumas as possible. And unfortunately, this is the consequences of that. All right. These same women will actually come by to a Kevin Samuels show. God rest Kevin Samuels show and actually begging, what do I need to do to actually get a high value man? These types of same women right there.
You never said that at all. As a black brother, you should have kept that as what it was.
But what if he actually decided to say all that stuff probably between the two of y'all in an intimate setting, right? What if he actually says how he actually really feels and what his preferences mainly are if you ask him that question? What will you say then if he actually brings that up? Are you going to actually try and actually respond and actually just be respectful about it? You may have respectful disagreements, or are you going to explode the same way that you're doing?
Should have just said, you're not just my type. But hair, it's a different. You can't talk about hair. If you want hair, go get what you want. If you want Becky with the long hair.
Now that's another assumption. He never said anything about getting the white woman. I want you to note that. Sandy's assuming that white women are always going to have the long hair. That's not always true because there are a lot of black women with very long natural hair that have longer hair naturally than what white women have. And some of their hair is fine and brittle and thin. And others, when none of races and white women's are thick and coarse as well. And some black women's hair that are natural are thick and coarser. And when longer, could actually just be extremely voluminous.
Go get what you want. Don't talk to black women up here about hair. That's just it. And I'm not triggered.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are, Sandy.
I said, at the end of the day, your hair is nappy. Your hair is short.
And so is yours, too. What happens if you choose to wear dreads and, you said, hey, I prefer a man who's clean shaven, who's clean cut. I don't want a man with dreads, And most men would literally be like, all right, no big deal. But when it comes to man showing his preferences, especially with hair, all of a sudden you spooked. Really?
You should be happy where you came from, period.
And now, again, you see the quiet snips and the quiet claps. They are actually in quiet support of this woman. And again, they share the same mindset that Sandy is actually basically spilling, but they're not going to actually just be way too blatant with it.
Can I talk or are you going to interrupt me again?
I don't want to hear what you have to say.
Now you don't want to hear what he has to say now. And now this is basically a game show and she is still spooked. You popped your balloon. You don't want to date him, so leave him alone. Why are you bickering and why are you complaining? Why are you losing your mind?
You
can say what you want to say.
Yeah.
And she's still talking.
Don't talk about black people here. But
So
Let's hear from him. Go
So
ahead.
again, her hairstyle, there's nothing wrong with it.
Correct.
So it's my preference, right?
Yes.
So if I'm here to date, I'm here to find someone for me.
Yes.
So I'm not dating you.
And she understands it. I know they're trying to go on the back for her, but she also understands she's definitely mature in regards with that. Ain't no harm, no foul.
Multiple people. You're not dating multiple people.
Correct.
So my comment to her has no sort of
no bearing on all the other women that are on this show. And again, the 8 women that are on this show do not reflect the majority of black women around the world, especially in the United States of America. It's a very minute, very small sample size out of the millions upon millions, tens of millions of black women all around the United States of America, at least. A very small sample size, mind you. So you can't generalize all black women based on these 8 black women that's there, definitely there. Let me make this very clear. There's only just 8 black women that's there. Please don't generalize those 8. Actually generalize all based on the 8 that you see here. Let me make this very clear. All right?
Significance
But
on
I'm a
you.
black woman. If I want to wear my hair like hers one day, what you gonna say? Oh, I don't like your hair. I'm gonna go date Becky up the street.
No, of course not. When they're in a relationship, of course not. They're gonna have it. They'll let you. He'll gladly support, whatever you choose to do, as long as they're deep in it, because they already built the connection. They already built ground. They built chemistry. They built the foundation. As long as you do what you feel comfortable doing, that's definitely the most important thing. It's a preference when he sees based off of first impression. It should not be that much of a big deal.
Follow along. Thank you.
I'll say
Yes, Sandy is extremely, extremely triggered. Yes, he is. He is salty and extremely triggered.
this. At the end of the day, are you here to find a man, or are you here to be?
I'm not here to find you. I'm here to find someone that's gonna accept me flossing.
Yeah, to take me as I am or have none of at all, that type of stuff. The take me as I am method is not practical, because you always are going to have room to grow. You're always going to have room to improve as a couple up until the day you die. You know what I'm saying? Especially when it comes with certain external stuff. The hair, fine, you can wear your hair wherever you want. But especially when it comes to external when it regards to your health, oh yeah, you got to try and make sure you improve that, just to make sure you maintain the longevity of your relationship, maintain the stay in your relationship, and also maintain the longevity of your life.
Oh, and if you can't accept this young lady up here.
Sounds like you're here to find this.
Yes, he is here to find the stepsister for the stepsister club. You know what I'm saying? She's trying to actually join the sisterhood. She's actually trying to find a member of the sisterhood to actually be in a serious relationship more than actually finding an actual black man. That's basically what this woman's mindset is. That's what Sandy's mindset is.
Sister code.
No,
so we can move forward.
Actually, women,
we can move forward.
We are here, and
we
there's
can
a
move
lot
forward.
of black women that's lined up in here. So you can't talk about hair. It's not about the length or the texture. Know what you say before you talk to black women. That's it. Thank you.
Let's go on over here.
Yeah, please.
I always want to have the last say, and that's fine. You have the last say. But at the end of the day, he makes the final decision, and you wonder why he's having struggles with dating. And I'm not saying this is just limited to women and getting their own stuff. Yes, the ones that are pseudo red pill gurus that bicker and complain about modern women this, modern women that, but yet they still actually struggle with dating themselves behind the scenes, not wanting to do any tinkering or experimentation that they own, and actually do like some thorough analysis or personal experiences of themselves, and actually challenge those theories to actually verify and see if they're either legit or they have some type of error. You know what I'm saying? Now we got the last contestant that we'll definitely discuss, and I will definitely come up with the conclusion and actually try and discuss on that as well.
Your name and age?
I'm Kisu, and I'm 27.
Okay. And Kisu, why'd you end up popping your balloon?
For numerous reasons. The first one was the age.
Okay.
So I was like, Then the outfit, wasn't a fan. And then I felt like that comment about her hair, cherry on top, very inappropriate.
Now, the comment of the hair based on the preference of dating somebody with long hair, how would that be insulting if that man basically expressed his preferences of actually preferring a long-haired black woman, especially when coming out of the scalp? It could be natural, it could be relaxed, or even if it's a wig. We don't know. That's his preference, and that's his right to say that. What is the issue? And it's not just Sandy. It's that last woman that you see up in there. I forgot the woman's name, but I want to actually try and hem this all the way home. It's not just Sandy that's actually just feeling this way. There are a good portion of girls in that set, in that line, that feel the same way that Sandy is feeling right now, and she's one of them.
Yeah, I mean, she's a black girl. Our hair comes in many different ways, patterns.
Understandable.
So I feel like, I don't know, what if you saw me tomorrow? I had short hair.
And again, natural hair definitely does strengths. I don't know if this woman's hair is natural or not. I'm not sure. But it definitely does shrink, when it's stretched out, then you tell how really long it is. That's definitely the name of the game. But again, he is stating preferences. Now, if this woman basically stated or actually wanted actually trying to clarify that, when my hair is stretched, it's basically longer than you think, then that would be a different story. But basically being spooked over making a comment like this is way out of line, is way over the top, and it basically shows how deeply insecure those women are within themselves, and they've yet to heal from that.
I just wasn't a fan of it. It wasn't giving that you were like accepting of her for who she was.
That is not true. He was accepted for who she was, and he'd be more than willing to accept her definitely as like a compadre or even like an acquaintance or even a friend. But to actually try and actually say that, he's dismissive because he prefers longer haired women, like, come on, man, this is not the right fit. Why are you making this situation a much bigger deal than it needs to be?
And I feel like if you can say that to her, you can say it to me, so I had to pop.
But why would it concern you if you had the longer hair? Why would it concern you? You're concerned about another stranger, and if you're looking to date a man, that's definitely there. But you're concerned about another stranger that's definitely in line, that's outside of the two of you. And he's also going to explain the same way as well in regards with this, based on the preferences on like who they like when you bring this up. You know what I'm saying? And if he actually, so you ask that type of question here and he brings it up and he gives you an answer that you want to hear, and all of a sudden you start exploring this, that's how dates and relationships definitely fail. And you back to square one, having struggles actually trying to get another man. Just like the situation with like, all these, I don't know, I get the whole modern women thing. I fully understand that. And it's not just women actually think the way that they're doing with those four. These four that you see up in the screen, and that woman outside, Arlette, and that woman up in the far right. You got pseudo red pill gurus and pseudo MGTOW gurus that think the same way too on the opposite side of the spectrum also. All right, I want to explain this stuff with fair balance.
Yeah, you gotta go that way.
Well, we're here to give a first impression, right? So.
And Sandy just can't stop talking, can she? Woof.
I'm going off of my first impression. So if you're not wearing your hair short, then you have nothing to worry about, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you switch it up, there's nothing wrong with that. Because
Correct.
Once we're together, I would have gotten to know you, and there would be more substance. There would be more reasons why we're together versus just the physical, right? Also, with any person that I'm dating, I would expect for them to make sure that, when there's a situation, that we have each other's back. What I'm hearing is if there's ever a situation, you're going to have a random girl's back because it's about the girl code. Because I make a comment about someone that has nothing to do with us, right? So you're telling me you're willing to go to bat for a stranger versus the man that you're looking for.
Yes.
Well, you're a stranger. So.
Yeah, but they're two strangers that's trying to look for love and trying to get to know each other. And these are basically acquaintances that they have that are competing for each and every other man. That's the huge difference. And this is when it comes to actually courting, and you deal with stuff when it comes to dating. Those are the things that actually may come about, because eventually it will come out in the preference on like who that man likes, whether it's a short hair, long hair, whatever. It's going to come out eventually.
Oh,
right. But what I'm saying is if we're not strangers, meaning if we're dating, right, I would
dating, starting a date, have a committed relationship, many levels to it. Many levels to it.
Expect for you to know we're already together, so you should never feel some sort of insecurity from me making a comment about someone else because I'm with you. So if you're telling me that anything I say about someone else rubs you the wrong way, which means you're willing to go against me because of someone else that's not within our dynamics, that lets me know you're not for me.
And it also shows that women's deep insecurities as well, which he's very, very spot on about.
I could get that if we had a relationship,
but that also counts in dating as well. When you're starting out to build a relationship, to actually create a potential relationship, if he chooses to commit to you, that is also part of the game also. And that's what this woman does not see.
You don't, for one. And then for two, small comments like that are very character telling. So I feel like in this situation, like you were saying, the first impression, you saying that for me just was not a good first impression. So I had to pop.
It is what it is.
Okay. Spot on.
All right, let's head on back. Okay, well, unfortunately, that's all the balloons popped, but thank you so much for coming on. Let's go ahead and give it up for him, ladies. I'll take the mic.
Yeah, a few of them that's just quietly turning it up, and
Thank you.
the ladies that's just being discreet, but there's like some awkward smiles going on here. And then you see the other woman that came by feel embarrassed. Sandy giving the thumbs down, trying to ridicule the man. And then she's feeling a little bit awkward, but I would say to this gentleman here that he has dodged a big bullet. He dodged multiple bullets in this one because, they are not compatible with him based on his personality and definitely based on his needs. They are not the right fits for him, and more than likely, unless they change their ways, unless they find ways to heal and improve themselves psychologically, and definitely improve within themselves, and definitely try to value themselves more and be more secure within themselves individually, they're going to have a harder time definitely dating out in the real world, regardless of what race it is, but especially within black men. You know what I'm saying? But these other races of men aren't going to be really have their throwbacks as a black man would, especially what's been going on up in the societal realms. You know what I'm saying? But again, I would say definitely to the women that's out there, definitely deeply love yourself, deeply appreciate your worth. If you feel like there's some deep internal issues that you're having, definitely please seek therapy. If there's some stuff that definitely irks you the wrong way, just because we're here on something else, definitely please go seek a black mental health therapist or specialist or psychologist so you be able to actually try and go through the healing process. And I do want to actually try and go and actually speak with the gentlemen as well, that actually are watching this, especially with the black men that are there. I do want to let you know that are lots and lots of black women that actually are very interested when we actually discuss things about hair, that aren't really fully phased about hair like that. Some of them even they actually look for partners that actually want to actually help them with their hair as well, because due to the fact that their hair is very long and thick and curly and actually deeply coily, it's very, very hard and it's very difficult to maintain natural hair given the products that they mainly use. And if they do have a partner that's more than willing to actually help them out with that, it's a huge plus for them. If they have a partner that's definitely deeply curious about hair and is very encouraging with hair, yes, he states a preference that he loves long-haired girls, but if you more than are looking to plan to actually grow your hair out and want to actually do some digging, he'd be more than willing to stay with you, and he actually would like to actually learn how all this stuff works. It could happen, he could definitely blow you out, straighten you out, straighten your hair out, the whole 9 yards, get all stuff if you ask him to, if you actually ask him politely, actually trying to help you out and actually become your partner in crime to ease some pressure off you when you have so much off your plate, There are women that actually like this. You know what I'm saying? There are actually women that enjoy, having their partners mainly pet their hair and actually play with their hair. They have no issues with it whatsoever because they're more secure within themselves than those 4 women mainly have actually dealt with. It's not a big deal with them due to the fact they are secure on who they are and what they can bring, on how unique they really are, especially with their hair. You know what I'm saying? So I do want to actually try and make something like this very, very clear to all the black men out there. Definitely keep your heads up. Keep your heads out in the field. Definitely socialize a bit more. Learn how to communicate. Know how to vet thoroughly women and sniff those women out that are actually a bit chaotic and spooked by certain expectations that you mainly have and how they respond to your questions and expectations on how you react in a situation. And if they feel extremely spooked and if they feel extremely insecure and actually try and have any cop-outs, or they actually try to find some ways to cope saying, oh, my career comes first, oh, this, don't be talking about black women's hair like that. You have to understand they have some deep insecurities within them, and more than likely they don't even respect you as a person. You have to leave those types of women alone. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying those 4 women represent all the black women. I'm not saying that. Let me be very clear. All right? There are a lot of black women, okay? They are more secure within themselves than those 4 that you see up in that video, right? And that popped the balloon. You know what I'm saying? And yes, a lot more women have the insecurity as well that they actually are there. Some of them up in that group are in the process of actually healing, which is great. So as long as they make sure they work on themselves, ain't nothing wrong with that. And if you're building a relationship, because again, nobody's fully healed. Let's be real. It's a matter of making sure that you're thoroughly healed as much as possible so that you'll be able to build a solid relationship together to make sure that it's definitely us against the world mentality, and there's nothing that can actually just hold us back or hold us apart, or actually just literally actually keep us stuck. You know what I'm saying? Best of luck to all the women that are actually contending for Pop the Balloon, as well as that gentleman Tanande. And I'm going to literally leave it at that. Chris Paul from Nerd Chronicles is signing out. Deuces. And hopefully I feel better, as the next video goes along, but who knows?